Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I hope that inshallah my sound and my picture are clear, and as soon as I get the confirmation, inshallah we can start. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin, la siyama baqiyatillah fil aradin. Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-sharif wa ja'alana min a'wanihi wa ansarih. We studied part of the conversation between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Musa alayhi salam. As you remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first introduced himself and then asked Prophet Musa to remove his shoes. Then Allah again spoke to him and asked him, what is in your right hand? Prophet Musa gave answer, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed some signs of being especially chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being given a task, some miraculous power that Allah gave to Musa alayhi salam. And Allah gave him the mission of going and talking to Pharaoh. Prophet Musa ala nabina wa alayhi wa salam, as you know, asked for few things that would help him in his mission. So this was what we said last week. قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. We discussed up to here. واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي. Another thing that he wanted was to have a wazir. Wazir means a helper, a minister, an aid. When you have a great mission and task, you cannot do it single-handedly. You need people to help. You need also someone or some people, maybe one, maybe more people who can help you in leadership. So you have following, but you need also someone in a higher level that can help you in leadership. As a leader, you cannot tell everything to everyone. Sometimes there are problems or maybe opportunities that if you say to everyone would not be possible. But at the same time, you need a group of very close associates with whom you can share all the secrets, all the worries, all the opportunities, all the tactics and the strategies. People that not only they are trusted, but also they are good enough to give you ideas, to help you, to correct you if you are mistaken. They themselves are very brave. So if you, for example, have worries and fears, they can help you. So this is something that Prophet Musa alayhi salam was very much aware of it. So he said, "Oh Allah, for such a great task, I need to have a helper. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we will say, accepted the requests of Musa, including this one. For sure, this helper who is going to share leadership, if he is from yourself, if he is your brother or your son or your uncle or cousin, someone who is very close to you, it would make things much easier. For example, in this case, Prophet Musa says, وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِنْ أَهْلِي هَارُونَ أَخِي. Please appoint for me a minister from myself, from my family, and that is Aaron, my brother. When they are from the same family, when they are two brothers, it means that there is a long history of knowing each other. Trust is there. Mutual understanding is there. You know the language of each other. You know that what your brother means when he says something. Even before he replies or says something, you can expect, you can anticipate what he is going to say. So not only there is no misunderstanding when he speaks, you can even anticipate what he is going to say, because you know his personality, you know his mentality, you know the way he responds. This makes things very easy compared to two people that work together but they have not that much a long history. There is, in addition to trust and mutual understanding, there is love. You know, sometimes when you are bombarded with problems, when you are very much under pressure to be with someone that is very close to you, you love each other, you are ready to die for each other, is going to help a lot. It is true that the main comfort comes from connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but on a human level we also need some human beings around with whom we can relate. This makes things much easier. We need family to support, we need close friends to support. So he said, "Oh Allah, in addition to giving me sharh sad, open heart, in addition to making my affairs easy so that people can really understand and deeply understand me, please give me a helper from myself, my family." And this would be an extra honor for our family as well. He also nominated his brother. This is also good, that when we suggest a position, it would be helpful if we can also introduce some people, nominate some people. So if I say, for example, that every community must have an alim, a resident alim, then people would expect me to also say who would be that resident alim that can be available to us and can address our needs here, can be approachable. So it's good to have people in mind to suggest. So he himself suggested his brother, and then he also elaborated on some of the things that he expects that helper, that minister, that wazir would be doing. Of course, he would do much more, but these are some of the most important, or you can say some of the most general things that one can think about it. One is Ushdud bihi azri. Oh Allah, please strengthen my back through him. Although Musa was not going to carry a weighty, good, so that his body and his back would be under pressure. But as you know, this is a common expression. Even for the things that are not physical, we feel the pressure on our back. This is what is used. There's a great responsibility on my shoulder, or for example, there's a great weight on my back. When you are loaded with great responsibilities and tasks, then your back is under pressure. As you remember, in one of our discussions, we mentioned this verse about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Allah says, وَوَزَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ. After saying that we have opened, أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ, we have opened your heart, your chest, Allah says, and we removed the burden which was on you, which was breaking your back. أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ. As you remember, I said, when you have a wooden ceiling and there is lots of things on it, sometimes you hear a sound as if it's going to break, it's going to collapse. That wood, start making sound. That is naqwa. So Allah says, we removed the burden which was on your back, which was going to break your back. So having a brother with whom you can share responsibilities, you can share your concerns, is helping you, because he would also help you by taking part of the responsibility, so the pressure, the load on your back would be less. Ushdud bihi azri. And now you can better understand why Imam Hussein alayhi salam, after martyrdom of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, said, now my back is broken. انقسم ظهري, because, or انكسر ظهري وانقطعت حيلتي, or رجائي, because according to some texts, Imam mentioned few points at that time. One is, my back is broken now, انكسر ظهري, because now I am alone. There is no one that I can trust him fully and can share in the responsibilities of leader. Also Imam said, وَانْقَطَعَ رَجَائِي, my hope is finished, runs out of, I run out of hope. It means that as long as Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was alive, despite all the problems, despite all the people who were killed, Imam still had some hope of someone being there to help, at least to help look after the family, protect the family. If he's not going to bring military or militant victory, at least he can help with protection. Also said, وَقَلَّتْ حِيلَتِي, now my choices for solution, for solving problems, for meeting the challenges has become very low. Because Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, not only himself was solving, he was suggesting also solutions, because he was a very good advisor as well. He was able to offer solutions, best tactics. May Allah protect all the brothers for each other. May Allah protect all the brothers and sisters for each other, inshallah. So one thing was, Ushdud bihi azri, please strengthen my back through him. وأشركه في أمري. Make him my associate in my affair, in this great mission. I want him, if possible, if you agree, to join me in this responsibility and be part of the leadership team. If that happens, if you give me such an associate, such a helper, then it's very beautiful. كي نسبحك كثيرا. I hope the slide is changed to this part. كي نسبحك كثيرا, verse 33. 33. So that we can do more tasbih of you, we can glorify you more. It's very beautiful. The whole aim of Prophet Musa is not to have a helper so that things become only easy. He would have a moral support as well as a kind of physical comfort. No, he looks at all these things as a way to be able to glorify Allah more, to remember Allah more. وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا. When we are together, we can do things for you better. And you know, anything good that we do is an act of remembrance of Allah. Prophet Musa is looking for opportunities to remember Allah more and more. Salat is an act of remembrance of Allah, and indeed it's the best way of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aqim as-salat ala dhikri. But anything good is also a remembrance of Allah. When you give zakat is also a remembrance of Allah. When you give khums is a remembrance of Allah. When you go for hajj is a remembrance of Allah. When you do charity work, it is remembrance of Allah. When you are helpful to your brothers and sisters in faith, this is a remembrance of Allah. When you are kind with your parents, with your children, this is a remembrance of Allah. Everything. And if you are a good, pious politician, this is a remembrance of Allah. If you are a person who is going to bring reform to the society like Prophet Musa, is remembrance of Allah. And if you do it more properly, you are doing better tasbih. Because one aspect of tasbih is to remove any bad quality from your image of God, and also any bad quality from society, so that society can better correspond to the will of God. This is also tasbih. So tasbih is not only to say Allah, for example, has no part and partner. It is tasbih. But also tasbih is not to let any partner for God to be on the society, in the society. When Fir'aun is there ruling people forcefully and claiming to be Lord of the people and asking for their full obedience, and you say nothing, so you are not doing proper tasbih. When you say La ilaha illallah, then at the same time you must deny any taghut who is there. This is an act of remembrance of Allah, an act of tasbih. So Prophet Musa alayhi salam said, Oh Allah, if you give me what I request, if you give me my brother Harun as a helper, if you appoint him as a minister for me, then we would be able to glorify you better and more. We would be able to remember you more. كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. You have been seeing us You have full knowledge about us. This is very beautiful. I am not introducing someone who is unknown to you. You know me and my brother in such a perfect way that he says you have been seeing us. Basir. And Basir not only is used for someone who can see something by eyes, by basar, also Basir can be used for someone who has Basira, who has insight. Because there are people who don't have insight, so they see someone for years and they don't realize what type of person that person is. They don't realize their good, for example, talents. But there's someone that quickly finds out who is this person, what talents he has, how can he or she be helped. Or for example, what bad problems, what bad qualities are there. Prophet Musa says, you are Basir. You are watching us. You knew all these details about us. You had insight, of course. So you know whether we match each other and his task. So Harun matched Musa and also matched this task. Because sometimes maybe someone is very close to you, but it's not good to be involved in this mission. You cannot involve everyone that is close to you in every mission. You have to be also seeing whether that person who is good with you and you love him or respect and trust also matches this position, this responsibility or not. So he said, yes, إِنَّكَ كُنْتَ بِنَا بَصِيرًا. You know that how close we are with each other, what our talents are, and that how we can, help each other and support each other if we work together. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you have been granted your request. قال, Allah replied, قد أوتيت سؤلك يا موسى. O Musa, again Allah mentions his first name. As you remember, we had this before, as a matter of respect, as a matter of friendly relation. O Musa, your request has been granted. Su'l means what you have asked for. Your request has been granted. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to make him even more confident and more hopeful, said, this is not the first time that we are giving you what you have asked or what you need. We have been supporting you and blessing you before. And indeed, we blessed you with the things that you didn't ask for. You were not in a position to ask. When you were just born, and as inshallah you will see, we inspired your mother to put you in a casket and put you into the river, and all the things that came afterwards, that was our blessing for you. Did you ask it? Or did you ask for it? No. You were a child. So you have a history of support, and this is why Allah said, وَاسْتَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي, I built you for myself. So when you build someone for a mission, so you support him even with the things that he may not be able to ask, but you know that he needs this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّا عَلَيْكَ مَرَّةً أُخْرَى. certainly we have blessed you, we have done you a favor another time. Now let's see what was that blessing another time. إذ أوحينا إلى أمك ما يوحى. When we revealed to your mother, we revealed. I will explain what does revelation mean here. When we revealed to your mother whatever was revealed. Sometimes in Arabic, when something is very important, very special, instead of saying it in particular, they say what was, for example, said. I said what I said. I did what I did. Instead of saying what I actually said or what I actually did, say what I said or what I did. You know what happened. In English also we use this. You know what happened. So sometimes we don't mention the thing in particular. Or for example, sometimes they say alayhi ma alayh. When a person is very bad, so instead of saying something about him, they say alayhi ma alayh. Whatever it is, from, I don't know, cursing or whatever on him, it's on him. So this is a way to avoid speaking clearly or specifically because of importance or because there is other, for example, reason. In Ilm al-Balagha there are different reasons. Sometimes you don't want to mention the details because it can be maybe problematic, it can create friction, or for different reasons. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here first says أوحينا إلى أمك ما يوحى. We revealed to your mother what is revealed, in a very general way. But then Allah mentions, so for importance, for preparation of mind, He first speaks about it in a general way, ma yuha. So it was a revelation. But then Allah says, أَنِقْذِفِيهِ فِي التَّابُوتِ. Then He starts mentioning what was the message, what was the content of that revelation. And inshallah we'll talk about it. But before that, I want to focus on the term wahy. إِذْ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّكَ مَا يُوحَى. Was the mother of Musa a prophet or prophetess? No. So what does wahy mean? In the Quran, which is using Arabic language, the lisan al-Arabiyyan mubin, a clear Arabic language, the term wahy, like Arabic language, is used not only for revelation that comes to prophets, what we call prophetic revelation. No, it is not only used for this. Revelation is sometimes used in its literal sense, which means to give a message to someone or something quickly and secretly. Wahy is a type of indication, a type of communication that the message is given very quickly and also secretly. If there are 10 people, for example, here, if I speak slowly and in the way that everyone understands, then I can not point at some particular person and I say, I did wahy to you, awhaytu ilayk. I can only say awhaytu ilayk when I gave him a very quick and also secret message, a very private communication, which is fast, so that no one else would understand, and he would understand quickly. So it has to be very clear, because if it's not clear, it cannot be fast. If you give him a message that it takes him days, to understand, this is not also wahy. So, in the Quran, sometimes wahy is used for good people, sometimes also is used for bad people. And الشَّيَاطِينَ لَيُوحُونَ. Even Satans communicate with each other, fast and secretly. Or it can be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is communicating, but not necessarily to a prophet. It can be to another human being, like mother of Musa. Or even Allah sometimes says He has communicated to insects. أوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا. Your Lord communicated to the bee to choose mountains for their house, as their house. They make their hives in mountains. They produce good honey if it is in mountains. Sometimes even Allah says He has communicated to the sky, for example. So any message, any command, whether it would be legislative command or generative command, as in the case of sky and in the case of bees, which is guided through instinct, all are called wahy. So, mother of Prophet Musa alayhi salam received a message from God, a kind of inspiration, an idea from God came to her. Not everyone understood this, so it was secret. It was very quick, because she didn't have that much time to think. It was quick. Allah sent him this quick and secret message. Wahy, so inspiration. And in the case of prophets, what we have is, when Allah reveals to them something, it brings tranquility and certainty to their heart. So they are not in doubt that this is a genuine message from God. But for ordinary people, and when I say ordinary, I don't mean ordinary in every sense. I mean not ma'soom, not a prophet and imam, although they might be very pious. Sometimes they may receive inspirations, but they may not be 100% sure whether it is from God or not. So they have to check. I cannot, be sure that when I have a dream or an idea comes to my mind that this is definitely from God. Most of the time we are not sure. Sometimes there are some kind of indications, some evidence, but many times you don't know. You may have the best inspiration, but still you are not sure. You have to be careful. It has advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that you don't become proud, and also you become careful, because if you think it's from God, then sometimes other things may come which are not from God. But the disadvantage is, because you are not sure this is from God, then you cannot be determined. If you know something is really from God, then you will be determined and you will try to do it definitely. So we have to work within this framework of general rules and principles, and sometimes inspirations, but inspirations that we cannot be always sure that it is 100% coming from God. So you have to check, you have to consult, you have to take advice. So Allah sent this message to lady mother of Musa alayhi salam, and for that lady this message was very special. She was definitely desperate. And many times Allah's help comes when we are desperate, because when we are not desperate we think that we are able to solve the problems. But when you are desperate and you say, I cannot do anything, then that's the time that the help may come. So Allah said, اقذفيه في التابوت. Put him in the casket. For a mother this must be very difficult actually. A mother, even for example leaving her child in home, but for example going away for a few minutes would be worrying. What is going to happen to my child in those few minutes? That he is in a safe place, in home, in his own room, and in his own, for example, bed, but still a mother is worried. What is going to happen when I am for a few minutes away? Now imagine for a mother put her baby, newborn baby, into a casket and putting into river would be very difficult. But she was a pious mu'minah, a believer. She had trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore she took the risk. And anyway, also she didn't have that much of other options also, because Pharaoh was after Musa and after all the sons of Bani Israel. So that lady was able to overcome her emotions, which is very important. Emotions sometimes don't let us to be clear when we want to make decision. We understand that this is what I have to do, but I cannot do it because emotions don't let me. Or even sometimes they become so much powerful that they cannot even let me understand what I am supposed to do, and sometimes even they make me confused. So there are different stages. Sometimes they don't let me to do what I know that I have to do, so I make the decision but I cannot do it. Sometimes they don't let me make up my mind and decide, and sometimes they confuse me and make bad decisions. Many times when you love someone or you hate someone, you make decisions which are wrong. So this is a problem. But this lady was a pious lady. She was able to make up her mind and act maybe against instincts of a mother, emotions of a mother, but for the best interest of her baby. So Allah said, put him in the casket and then cast it into the river. Yam sometimes means sea, it can be used for river. Then فَلْيُلْقِهِ الْيَمُّ بِالسَّاحِلِ. He's not going to remain in river forever. It comes to an end, because this river must end somewhere. But in this case it's going to end where Pharaoh is standing. يَأْخُذُهُ عَدُوٌّ لِي وَعَدُوٌّ لَهُ. The river will take him to the coast, Sahel, to the coast, to the bank of the river, and then an enemy of mine and him will take him. Pharaoh was an enemy of God, but also was an enemy of Musa. Why he was an enemy of Musa? At that time, the only reason was because he was one of Bani Israel. There was no history between him and Pharaoh at that time. But Pharaoh was not showing any love to Bani Israel. He wanted to use them as his slaves, servants, and also he was careless about their lives. If his power needed, he was able to kill thousands of them easily. According to some books, every other year he was killing all their sons. He was not killing every year because he wanted some of them to remain to serve him. So he was he was an enemy of Allah because of all the mischief he was doing and claiming deity. He was also an enemy of Musa alayhi salam, and this enmity later became more obvious and had more reasons, because he was looking at Musa as a challenge. But Allah planned in the way that Pharaoh, who killed many people in order to avoid birth of Musa, he himself became responsible for protection and upbringing of Musa. Look at the beautiful planning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah didn't force Pharaoh. Allah didn't remove his free will, but Allah played in the way that Pharaoh acted freely in the way which Allah found it useful for his servant Musa. So at the same time that Pharaoh and his wife were there next to the river bank, this baby comes. Apparently they didn't have any child, so the mother of Musa indeed sent Musa to a couple who had best of resources to look after his baby. And Allah says, وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِنِّي, I cast upon you a love from me. I made you lovable. So when Pharaoh saw this baby, he loved that baby. It was very lovable. Maybe the way that baby was looking, the eyes of the baby, the smile of the baby was special. So the wife of Pharaoh and Pharaoh both loved. Of course, the wife of Pharaoh was a very nice, very pious mu'mina, and as a lady also to love the baby is not very maybe difficult. But Pharaoh, with all the pride that he had, to love a baby who is unknown to him, and perhaps also the color is different because from Bani Israel, to love a baby and show love for a baby despite his arrogance and pride would not be easy. Then imagine loving an unknown baby so much that he says, okay, I agree, we can take him and we can adopt him as our son. This cannot happen without having a special love cast upon Musa, so that everyone loves him, especially someone like Pharaoh, that if he didn't love, he would have said, no, this child must be left or killed because might be one of Bani Israel. So Allah says, وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِنِّي, I projected on you, I cast upon you love from me, a special love. Anything comes from Allah, but sometimes Allah attributes something to himself in a special way. Every love in dunya comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as every blessing comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this doesn't mean that it is especially planned. Sometimes it's general. Even sometimes maybe Allah is not pleased with something, because everything happens in this world as an act of God, but sometimes Allah is not happy with them. Legislatively, He is not happy with them. Anyway, this is what we discussed in the issue of will of God. So the love that Allah puts in the hearts of a mother or a father or friends or his people. For a pious person, for a good person, this love is a blessing from Allah all the time. But here was a special love, and this is why Allah attributes to Himself to honor. ألقيت عليك محبة مني وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَى عَيْنِي. This is also very beautiful. And also in order to be built under my eyes. Allah's eyes are everywhere. No one is built, no one is brought up unless he is under Allah's eyes. But this is again special to honor the situation of Musa. Allah says, you were brought up under my eyes. Means I had a special attention, a special care for you. But interestingly, when and where this special attention came, it came when Pharaoh and his wife adopted him as a child, as a son. And inside, for example, the palace of Pharaoh. So you can be next to Pharaoh in his palace, surrounded by his guard and army, but you are being brought up under Allah's eyes. Allah is the Lord of the universe. He is present everywhere, and He can pay attention to you everywhere, no matter whether you are in a holy place and with holy people, or you are in a bad place with bad people. If you are there for good reason, if you are there in the way which is pleasing to Allah, if Allah's care is with you, above you, then you shouldn't worry. So Allah says, now that I brought you here, it's because I want you to be built under my eyes. So maybe if you were with your mother, still I could not have this much attention to you. I have a special attention for you here because there are things that for your upbringing, for your training, can be offered here that cannot be offered any other place. When you are in the house of Pharaoh, you receive security, you receive support, you receive everything that you need, plus more. Imagine how much love would be given and shown to the child of Pharaoh. What type of training? For sure, a schooling was not available to everyone, but for someone who is child of Pharaoh, perhaps they had private teachers for sure. Someone who would teach him how to read, how to write, how to, for example, ride a horse, how to defend himself, how to use weapons. Everything is done in a royal way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِ, so that you will be built, brought up, trained under my eyes. إذ تمشي أختك فتقول هل أدلكم على من يكفله. When your sister was also walking, after mother put the baby in the casket, in the casket and threw into the river, they didn't know what is going to happen. The sister of Prophet Musa walked by the side of the river, following the casket, see where it's going to stop, who is going to take. So she saw that it went to that side, which was the house of Pharaoh, the palace of Pharaoh. So maybe one branch of the river was going to the house of Pharaoh, or maybe Pharaoh had gone out of palace next to the river bank. So she saw everything, and she saw that they adopted this baby. So she was very clever. She didn't say, I am the sister of Musa, and explain everything, that we are from Bani Israel. We were worried that, for example, Pharaoh's army is going to kill my brother, so my mother did this. No, she was very clever and very patient. She controlled her emotions very confidently, and perhaps in a very calm and relaxed way. She just appeared as a person who is giving some advice. She said, هَلْ أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى مَنْ يَكْفُلُهُ? Shall I inform you about someone who can take care of him? She didn't say, shall I tell you who can feed the baby? Look at this. It is said that Prophet Musa didn't eat and drink milk from any lady. She was crying and not taking food. So this was a plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to bring her mother to him. But it was not just a matter of feeding, because they wanted also to be with the baby. So the sister of Musa said, "Ala man yakfuluh." She suggested that you need a person who can feed the baby and be a carer of the baby, like a babysitter. So it would give more time to the mother of Musa to be with Musa. It was not just a matter of, okay, every few hours feed him and go away. Pharaoh and wife of Pharaoh were not themselves babysitters, so they needed someone. So the sister said, let this lady be the babysitter, not someone from the palace. It's very beautiful. هل أدلكم على من يكفله. كفالة means to look after. Then Allah doesn't say what did they answer, but He says فَرَجَعْنَاكَ إِلَىٰ أُمِّكَ, we returned you to your mother. So it means that they accepted. So they accepted that the mother of Musa be indeed the one who is going to look after Musa. It's very beautiful reunion between mother and the baby. But now mother, instead of being worried that anytime the soldiers of Pharaoh may come and kill Musa, now she's been given a task by Pharaoh to look after her own baby. So she has now security. She has also appreciation of Pharaoh. No one can come and touch her or the baby. And perhaps she was also being given money by Pharaoh. And perhaps, I don't know, also some kind of transportation, so that anytime she can go home and look after the rest of the family and come here. And maybe sometime was taking baby to home, I don't know. Anyway, she had lots of time to spend with the baby, but with respect, without worry. May Allah make such plans for us, and maybe accept the plans that Allah make for us, because sometimes Allah has lots of beautiful plans for us, but we are not patient and we run away from his parents. فرجعناك إلى أمك كي تقر عينها ولا تحزن. We returned you to your mother so that her eyes would be bright. Means she would be relieved, and لا تحزن, she would not have any grief, any sadness. Okay, I stop here, and inshallah, because then we move on to another part of the life of Musa, and inshallah we will discuss this inshallah in the next session. Let me see if we have any questions. Yes. Okay, question 1. Assalamu alaikum Shaykh. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Was the mother of the Prophet Musa the daughter of Potiphar and Zulaykha from the time of Prophet Yusuf? No, I don't think it was their daughter, and she was one of Bani Israel, but Zulaykha and Potiphar, they were not from Bani Israel, because you know that Pharaoh and all the Pharaoh people, they were from another ethnicity. But Musa alayhi salam, mother, brother, all were from Bani Israel. Question 2. In one of your lectures in Toronto, you stated that Prophet Ibrahim and Ismail rebuilt the Kaaba. I thought that Ibrahim and Ismail were the first one to build the Kaaba. Can you please explain? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ. When Ibrahim was raising the foundations of the house, it means that the foundations were already there from before, but the walls were ruined. So Prophet Ibrahim restored the walls of Kaaba, but the foundations were there. And we have also many hadiths that this house was built before. And Prophet Ibrahim, even if we say he built, it means he rebuilt the house. The Quran also says, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا. The very first house which was built for people was in Mecca, which is Mecca. So it's also suggesting that this must be built in the early history of mankind on this planet, because it's إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا. So there are some evidence that this was not built for the first time by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Rather, it was restored, rebuilt by the Prophet Ibrahim and Ismail alayhi salam. Okay, this was the second question, and it seems that we don't have any question. Also, our time is over, so I stop here. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let us understand the Quran inshallah better and implement the teachings of the Quran to our life. I pray that inshallah we would have a very blessed month of Muharram, in which our community worldwide would be able to commemorate the tragedy of Karbala in a very enlightened way. I hope that inshallah all those who are going to mourn for Imam Hussein would be safe inshallah, and at the same time would be given ma'rifah and understanding of Imam alayhi salam and his personality and what we can do today for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire us to be good followers for Imam Hussein alayhi salam and for his son Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. May Allah be your guide and support, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the last moment of our life the best moment of our life. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.